Today is December 13th. It is also the 68th day of the war between Israel and Hamas. It's also the 6th day of Hanukkah. Tonight, we light the 7th candle of Hanukkah, which will begin the 7th day of the holiday. The headlines today in the Hebrew newspaper are this. The senior officials in Israel are saying to America that in this stage, they do not see that there will be a full withdrawal from the northern part of the Gaza Strip. In the White House, they're worried of leaving the Israel Defense Forces in Gaza even after the end of the war. In Israel, they say there will not be an annexation. We will not resettle in the Gaza Strip. But putting back Palestinians into the northern part of the Gaza Strip will be allowed only in a very measured and filtered way. The next headline reads, Medina b'miluim, a country in reserve duty. Here in the triangle, we see 2 months in Tzav Shmone. Tzav means a call-up or a command. Shmone means 8. This Tzav Shmone means a mass call-up of reserve duty. This headline reads, Achshav, now we will have a grave to cry upon. And we see here 2 hostages that were killed in Gaza, that were founded, that were brought back into Israel for burial. Let's open up to the main article about those hostages that were brought back into Israel for burial. It's written, Nilchamim bishvil kulam, fighting for everyone. There's Ziv Dedo and Eden Zacharia. They were brought back after 67 days in captivity. Ziv Dedo's wife says that she is relieved that they brought Ziv back home and now he has a grave. But on the other hand, she says, I have lost my husband and that is final. In order to rescue them, there was a very fierce battle, and these are the soldiers that died in the battle, Eyal Berkovich and Gal Eisenkot. And it reads, after the release of the bodies of the hostages, there were fierce battles in the Gaza Strip. This headline reads that there's a report that the IDF, according to the Wall Street Journal, that the IDF has been flooding Hamas tunnels with seawater, with 7 big pumps. So apparently there needs to be a variety of ways to demolish the big terror infrastructure there is in the Gaza Strip. The next headline is about President Joe Biden that is saying enough. Biden omer dai. Dai means enough in Hebrew. After debating whether or not to stop the aerial supply train into Israel that has helped Israel in the war from America, Joe Biden decides to put an ultimatum to Netanyahu, and he says you have to come up with an agreement regarding the day after the war in Gaza. And he continues, you need to change your policy, your government policy towards the Palestinians in Gaza. While Israel doesn't want Hamas in Gaza, understandably, it doesn't want Fatah, another organization, Palestinian organization in Gaza, but what will be in Gaza? That's the question. This is what they're debating about. The next article is about the reserve duty in Israel. We see her numbers in a summary. Over 250,000 reserve duties were enlisted into active duty in this war. Shirut Pa'il, active duty. The heroes and the female heroes too. 210,000 men, 40,000 women. Out of those women, 3,000 of them are mothers. 24 families have 3 generations that are enlisted in this war and are serving in this war. The oldest soldier serving is 95 years old, and apparently he's been fighting in all the wars in Israel since the beginning establishment of Israel. And the oldest female soldier is 78 years old. Here in red it reads, Hamechir HaKaved, the heavy price. 118 reserve soldiers fell in battle since the beginning of the war. Up here it reads, Azvu hakol ve'itgaisu, they left everything and enlisted. The reserve duty soldiers are counting more than 2 months outside of their home. The war in Gaza would have not looked the same without all of this reserve duty support, all these soldiers that are ready and motivated to serve and fight well. However, the social dynamic in Israel has changed because of it, because so many are not in the daily life, but they're there in the front lines. Here are families of the reserve duty soldiers wanting their husbands at home, the fathers at home, for 68 days now. They're waiting at home, b'de'aga, with worry, with concern. We see her Ina, she's pregnant, and she's hoping her husband will be back for the birth. In this picture, we see Noam and Emmanuel, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, they said they haven't seen their father except for a few hours, half a day, within these 68 days. Hamishpachot hadoagot, the concerned families. The next headline reads, Keneged kol hasikuim, against all odds. These are young men that were severely injured through the war, and some of them on October 7th, but they're coming back to life. They're going through rehabilitation. 3 of them are telling their stories about the long therapy and rehabilitation they still have in front of them, ahead of them, and says their light is that they came back to life. Light is a theme now because of Hanukkah, and light is one of the symbols, so oftentimes you'll see the word light in these articles. The next headline is about economics during war. Kalkala b'milchama. Ha'effekt ha'kalkali, the economic effect of the attacks of the Houthi rebels from Yemen. The concern is that there will be delay in supplies and increase in price because the Houthis again attacked another ship that was on the way to Israel. The threats are increasing, and the effect will be mainly from supplies from the Far East. We see here the longer route, the longer sailing route that the ships need to do from China to Israel around Africa, rather than just a shortcut through Yemen to Israel. It reads here that vehicles from China, food supplies as well from the Far East, and electronics from the Far East will probably increase in price. This is the ship that was attacked yesterday, Strinda. And lastly is about a new course that's opening up to international students right here. This is in contrast to the campuses all over the world that have been, it says here, a very big base for anti-Semitism and propaganda against Israel. The new course in Israel for international students will focus on the massacre that happened on October 7th and on the effects of the war in Israel and worldwide. These are the main headlines today in the Hebrew newspapers. For more stories, go to allisrael.com. Follow us on social media. We are reading your comments. Thank you for each of your comments. Share these stories with your friends. You can like this video if you liked it. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News, and Chag Chanukah Sameach. Happy holiday.